they're giving up lanes because, like, again, you become so much more predictable if I can take away one side and just funnel you to my 7'5" alien in the paint, right? I'm daring you to try to score over this guy, and he is so mobile in that space that he is
Mhm.
covering ground that no player in NBA history has ever covered defensively. There's no player. We should probably be talking about the Spurs a little bit, no?
Mhm.
Like, this Spurs team is awesome, and I think last night you saw a vision into what the future could be for the San Antonio Spurs. Dillon Harper, Steph Castle, Victor Wembanyama. Those 3 together this year, when they have been on the court, Mars, would you venture to guess in the 90 minutes that these 3 demons, these 3 lottery picks, these 3 top 5 picks have spent on the court, these 3 young men have spent on the court, do you venture to guess what their defensive rating is?
Defense?
Mhm.
I'm gonna say a 107.
Nah, probably like 90 something, 92, something like that.
85.
Okay.
Wow, that's pretty
So
incredible.
there is something about I think his name is Sean Sweeney. He's the assistant coach. He was with the Dallas Mavericks with Jason Kidd a couple of years ago, and he's come over to the Spurs, and he's really just taken their defense to another level. Obviously, Victor Wembanyama gets all the credit because he is the best defender in the world. But what his presence on the court allows their guards to do in terms of their switch coverages and everything that they do, I think it just makes them really dangerous. They are knocking off good team after good team. They're like the anti-Raptors in that sense, right? The Raptors can't beat like the top teams. This team almost never loses against the top teams. So I just think when it comes down to it, it's very easy to say, "Oh, we don't have time for Amen Thompson because the Houston Rockets got to win a championship." Last I checked, y'all not the best team in Texas. You're not winning a championship. That's it.
Mhm. I thought they did a good job. I thought Houston did a good job in dealing with San Antonio at the long ball line last night. They were not good. The difference last night was the physicality. I felt like they just took the game from Houston. If I'm being honest, I felt like they just roughed Houston up. They made Amen Thompson be their primary bucket getter, and they said to everybody else, "KD is not going to beat us. We're gonna make Amen Thompson be your primary ball handler and your bucket getter. Whenever KD gets the ball, we are going to jump him. We're going to crowd him. We're going to put him in uncomfortable space as much as possible," which didn't bother him years ago. But I feel like a younger, more athletic Castle, who was way more physical with him last night, making KD, which I was surprised about. You know, KD is actually really good putting the ball in his weak hand, getting to the free throw line. But Castle made sure that he wasn't able to get to that space. He was making sure that he wasn't able to get to that space. And when he ever did get to that space, Wemby covers so much ground because he's 9 feet tall and he's got a 12-foot wingspan. So the minute you think you got some space on him, you don't. You don't have any space on him because he comes out of nowhere. I just think that this San Antonio team, in terms of their defense and in terms of their connectivity, they were fantastic last night.
Dylan
And
Harper
They've
was
been
great
doing that
too.
to everyone though. They've been doing that to everyone. The thing that the Spurs have done to a lot of teams this year is highlighted deficiencies other teams have, especially with their defense, because Wemby's the ultimate equalizer, because they can do different things as a group. But I mean, the Rockets, to me, my takeaway that the Spurs exposed yesterday, especially, was like they don't have enough offense, man. And as good as KD has been, he won't have the offensive stamina to carry this team through 4 playoff series. And the end of game stuff is atrocious. And Şengün is 0 for 8 in the fourth quarter with 4 fouls. Like they lost a little, they lost a lot as well. Chill, to your point, the Steven Adams rebounding, offensive rebounding, gave them an edge on the margins too offensively, and that's gone. I just think that before the trade deadline, they have to address this point guard situation and get someone that can put the ball in the basket, man. Because otherwise, they're gonna be in trouble.
I think like
I'm a
there's a regular season fraud alert thing with teams that just outwork, out hustle, out possession everybody, right? These things work in the regular season. You know, you can win games by running teams off the court. But in the playoffs, that usually tends to equalize a little bit. You lose your advantage. It's the same thing with this offensive rebounding gimmick, right? And I'm not saying like teams can't be great offensive rebounding teams in the playoffs. They can be. But again, so much of that is going to be equalized when guys are boxing out harder, rotations are, there's more time to plan. There's a little bit more time to rest between games. This out efforting everybody shit, like, and overcoming your offensive deficiencies.
Man, that
and
matters though, man. I mean, I can appreciate your logic with the idea that, you can't solely out effort people, but if I could get 10 second chance extra points, if I could get 3 extra offensive rebounds and 4 extra possessions, that's a big deal, Penn.
I mean,
That's a
it doesn't
huge
matter.
deal.
It doesn't matter if you're
chill
not
when
scoring.
everyone's trying at the
Sure.
same level, when the games like really, really count.
Yeah.
A lot of that stuff goes away, right?
Mhm.
Like
Everyone's
at the
not
end of the
trying
day,
at the same level.
What do you
We've
mean?
seen how,
in
we've seen
the
how valuable
playoffs-
offensive rebounding is in the playoffs.
in a
Also,
game
wait.
7, Ox, in the final
Yeah.
2, like in a 6 possession, in the final 6
I mean, you got to
possessions of a
get there
game
first, though,
7.
Penn.
Huh?
You got to get there, and the one,
No,
what
I
I'm
understand
saying?
that,
You take a little
and
extra.
I get all that. Getting home court advantage, being a good regular season team, I get it, yo. But we all remember Bud's Hawks, right? We all remember teams that win on continuity, chemistry, effort, and like solid rotations. We've seen teams that overplay their starters and just eke out a 50-win record. Again, what I'm saying is when everyone plays their starters 40 minutes, a lot of the advantages that you enjoy in the regular season go away, right? Like there are teams that go way deeper into their rotation. I'm saying the Spurs are actually making it look easy, which is why I actually buy them as a championship contender. I don't think a lot of people talk about this team as a championship contender. People talk about it like a two-team race between Denver and OKC. It's like, oh, it's Denver, OKC. I'm like, yo, wait a second. There is this third team, and I know they're young, but they are really mature. They don't have a lot of defensive liabilities.
Sure.
Things don't look hard for them. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Like,
it does, Penn. It does. But to your point,
De'Aaron Fox
keep
can
going,
get
keep
wherever
going,
he wants on the
keep
court.
going.
He can get wherever he wants on the court. He has been a clutch player of the year, I believe. He
Yep.
did win the award at one
He
point.
did do that.
He has like an easy time scoring.
Yep.
It's not grinded out offense. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's De'Aaron Fox love. All right, Penn.
Mm-hmm.
I
Penn,
like
I
that.
think that Penn,
I think
Go ahead,
people
Kill.
put Spurs in the. I think people put Spurs in contention when they beat Oklahoma 3 times in a row.
I
Like
think
it's
that
been
we-
like it's been Denver, San Antonio, and Oklahoma for like.
and then they proceed
the
to
last
drop
month
5
or
of
two.
their next 7. With that being said, I think Penn is talking about a San Antonio team that went up against a Houston team that's really deficient offensively. What's going to happen when they run up on teams that are better offensively? What's going to happen when they run up on this Denver team that moves the basketball and can knock down open shots? And on top of that, they're going 23% at the long ball line where they can't make shots. What's going to happen then? Because that's what Houston has done to them throughout the course of playing against them. The last time they played them in Houston, I think they shot 20% at the long ball line in the second half. Last night, Houston held them to 23% at the long ball line for the game. Like when you're playing against a better offensive team in Denver, and you're playing against a better offensive team in the Lakers, the Oklahoma City, when you're playing against better offensive teams that can expose that sort of stuff and you can't make up for it, it looks real tricky. Real tricky, because then you got guys like Wemby now reverting back to what he wasn't really good at, and that's throwing a monkey wrench in everything that they were doing. So now he's more at the long ball line because we gotta get back in the game because we're behind. I think it's stuff like that that kind of throws a monkey wrench in what they're doing. With that being said, Penn, I'm not gonna argue the defense because I think that with Wemby, he just covers up so many things that we have issues with. I've said this in the past, Mars, that when I got a big, that's why I think rim protection is the most important, because when I got a big guy behind me that can clean up my mess, I'm way more aggressive on the wing, way more.
That's fair enough. I just think schematically, Wemby changes everything that they do because like they're not even. It's almost like they're daring teams to score on him. Like
Yes, they are, Penn.
they're
are.
giving up lanes because like again, you become so much more predictable if I can take away one side and just funnel you to my 7'5" alien in the paint, right? I'm daring you to try to score over this guy, and he is so mobile in that space that he is covering ground that no player in NBA history has ever covered defensively. There's no player. Like, I know that whenever I say this is the first time this is happening, it's usually met with a lot of like pushback, like how dare you, disrespect Hakeem or whatever. No player in NBA history has ever covered as much geography vertically, horizontally as Victor Wembanyama. This is a cheat code. He is covering a radius of like 14 feet above him, 14 feet like to the left and right of him, 14 feet to the left, to the front and back of him. That is like massive geography, right? I don't know, man. He's playing the most important he's playing the most important position on the court. Like that's the weirdest thing.
Yeah.
This is a historic thing going back to the 60s. Bill Russell, you know, we can go through history. The center position is the most important position in basketball. Mars, you have often railed against box plus minus because you say that why do they give more points? Why do they assign more value to passing from the center position? Correct? You find that weird?
Mainly on the defensive side of the ball, but yeah.
I think that passing is probably the most important thing for a center. One of like passing and rim protection are two of the most important things for a center.
Why is passing? Let's stick with passing.
Consider where centers typically occupy the court. Above the break, in the paint. These are the most vulnerable positions for a passer to be. Every guard who is a great passer gets 2 feet in the paint. The center is almost always living in the paint or, again, in the center of the court. So from the middle, you have all angles available to you. For a center who operates kind of in the KD zone of like high post, pinch post, that's 360 degrees. A player in that zone, like Nikola Jokic, who can dissect your defense, is the most vulnerable thing because he cannot be doubled. You're easiest to double where on the court, Cho?
In the corner.
Exactly. Your hardest to double where, Cho?
At the top of the key.
And in the middle of the court. Because there you can see all angles. So the best passers have to be in the middle of the court. I'm just saying, like, the Spurs have a depth of good playmakers on their team. They have decent shot makers. If Harrison Barnes ever stops being a terrorist, you know, shooting whatever the hell he's shooting from, this team could really, really jump OKC for like, this is the next team in the NBA that's going to win like five, 6 championships. We keep saying dynasties are dead. Wait for this team. Wait for this team. If Wemby stays healthy, it's crazy.
About the Harrison Barnes hate that y'all be giving. Because, yes, he has been shooting the ball terribly for a few weeks now. But we do got to remember that when Victor went out, Harrison Barnes was doing his thing, keeping that team afloat. I'm just saying, you know, there's ebbs and flows, runs in this, you know what I'm saying? So they
what happened to Jeremy Sohan?
They got quite a bit of wins off the back of Harrison Barnes. So, you know what I'm saying? Let's remember.
But my thing with Wemby is
they don't want Jeremy Sohan. Go ahead.
Oh.
Yeah. And my thing with the Wemby stuff is you got to make him accountable. Like the Rockets yesterday, because they're so shrunk offensively, they can allow him to cover so much ground pen. But when I'm watching the other night when the Pelicans put Zion on him, for example, Zion was just they were just bullying this man. So it's not like there's no way that you can not engage Wemby and have him have to guard somebody. You know what I mean? So that's when they run up to a team like Denver, for example, and he has a matchup in Nikola Jokic. It's a whole different ball game in my opinion. But I think the other night against the Pelicans was very interesting when Zion just took that matchup personally and just went at him all game. But that's what teams are going to have to do. Otherwise, the Spurs are going to have every team's number defensively.
That's a terrible matchup for Wemby, though. Like I get what you're saying, and I feel the same way. There are a few guys out there that Wemby just can't see. But
like Sengun, Ox.
Yeah. There's a few guys out there that Wemby can't guard yet.
Wide-bodied, low center of gravity centers are always going to give tall, gangly guys a lot of trouble. I get it, but when his jump shot and his game refines, he's just going to go over them. Again, there's a lot of skinny guys in NBA history who've had trouble with these types of body types before, and I get it. Right? I've seen Colin Murray Boyles, guys like that. Charles Barkley would be a nightmare for Victor Wembanyama in his prime. Like the round amount of rebounds, that would be tough. That would be very tough. Nikola Jokic would be a very, very difficult matchup.
Moses was
you know who would be a difficult matchup for Victor Wembanyama if he was a little bit taller? Swiper would be a very difficult matchup for Victor Wembanyama. You know, he just body him, push him, he fall over, and then he
very similar to OG Anunoby. You get underneath the size and strength, you can do well.
There you go.
Jabbar had the most trouble. Jabbar had the most trouble. To your point, Pen. Jabbar had the most trouble with Moses. Smaller, wide body, big guy, and he just used to push.
But how old is Wemby? 22 years and I think 5 days old. Okay.
Yeah.
This dude's
We just-
like,
we
when he's
just talking
24,
about what we've
25,
seen.
this ain't going to be so easy, yo. Like, I understand there's always going to be a body type that's going to be a little bit more designed. And I always have said that I think the best matchup for a Victor Wembanyama is always going to be an OG and an OB or someone like, like that. But that being said, at some point, OG 6'7", Wemby 7'7". Do the math, okay? So
Do the knowledge.
It's the panel. Religion get built on cam. With a check, throw smoke, and the host go ham. You ain't never seen hoops out here did raw. Every take got weight, every night we drop. Yeah, this that barbershop. Courtside, worldwide tone. Welcome to the only show that really feel like numbers jumping like the score.